Hey, today is July 6th. It's a Tuesday. I'm going to be going over the couple of trades I took. Today is the first day of the trading week. It is a shorter week. So let's start off. Let's go to Shopify. Okay, so there's a couple of reasons I took Shopify today. My analysis always starts on the higher time frame, so let's start on the higher time frame. You can see that Shopify had this massive run all the way from about 1025 to 1500, 1550 actually. So that's over a 50% move on the underlying asset, which is huge. Bulls are clearly in control of Shopify, so we are getting ready to make a move higher. No reason we should be playing puts on Shopify or on any equity for that matter of fact, because what is NQ doing? NQ broke all-time highs. And what did ES do? Yes, it's close to all-time highs. So no reason to be fighting the trend. The trend is clearly up. Continue to play long setups. When the market finally does reverse, then we will be the first to play puts as a team. So let's go back to Shopify. Okay, so what was I watching on Shopify? I was watching this 4-hour wedge pattern and the fact that we had no fresh supply above. So this is something which is really important to me. If we have fresh supply zones above on the equity, I'm not going to play it. Fresh supply zones means that there's a very good chance that institutions are going to get their sell orders placed. But if we don't have any fresh supply zones placed above, I'm better off taking it because it's a higher probability trade. So on Shopify, we had this 4-hour wedge pattern. We had multiple tests. We had a test here, one, another one here, 2, 3, 4. So multiple tests on a 4-hour time frame. No fresh supply above. We are in a clear uptrend on the higher time frame. So we look good for another move higher. So the two main levels I had was one, this wedge, and two, this 1532 level, and we rejected that perfectly, which gives me a stronger validation that once we break this level, we'll have a huge move to the upside. So back to Shopify, let's go down to a 5-minute time frame. I can really analyze my entries and exits now. If you see, Shopify had a crazy 5-minute candle to the upside. This, I believe, was a $20 move to the upside, it's a phenomenal move, supported by volume as well. So this clearly lets me know that bulls are in control of Shopify. At this point, Shopify is already up 1-2%. So my plan was to take a break of high of day and this longer term trend line targeting 1500, then 1510. So my entry was pretty standard. Once I saw the fact that bulls were in control of Shopify, I took it. I believe if you go down to a 1-minute time frame, I can really show you my exact entry. I think my entry was actually perfect. I usually don't have perfect entries, but this was one of my best entries. I entered at this 1006 candle right here. And then I immediately took one off. People could argue that my scale out wasn't that great. Let me tell you what I took my first scale out. So, people could have been like, oh, you could have scaled one out here, another one here, but I entered 2 contracts at 6.6 just to protect myself. As soon as we broke this wedge, premium spiked. Just to protect myself, I took one off at 7.5 from an entry of 6.6. The only reason I did that was just to, protect myself. If the trade goes against me, I want to make sure I lock in profits. Other contract is now moved to break even. My final target was 1500. 1500. I guess some people could argue that it wasn't a good target, but I'm being a little bit more conservative with targets now, just because I had a massive trade on Tesla on Friday, which was a couple of days ago. I unfortunately I still made money on it, but it wasn't the money that I should have made if I had a more reasonable target. So yes, 1500 is a little bit conservative, maybe 1510. Next whole number would have been a better target, but regardless, I entered 2 right here, took off 1 here, and then as we broke above 1500 and moving higher, I took my next one off at $12 or 11.96. So that's about 100% win on my final scale out. So overall, I netted around, I think, 630, 650 on this trade on a $1,300 investment. So I believe it was a very, very good trade. Yes, could have got my final target all the way here, but I just wasn't comfortable holding for this long. So now going into a future setup for Shopify, this 1532.5 level it's amazing. We've rejected 1, 2, 3, and now 4, 5 times, letting me know that once we break this 1532.5 level, we're easily going to see all-time highs and then a move beyond. So that's Shopify. Another good trade a lot of members capitalized on was Amazon. We've been watching this setup together as well. One rejection, 2, 3, 4. So once we get above this level, there's a very, very good chance that we're going to break all-time highs and we're going to continue higher, which is exactly what we did. This is the trade Dylan capitalized on. I personally avoided because it happened during the first 5 minutes. I know it sucks. I'm missing a lot of good trades, which happen at the first 5 minutes, but I've also seen a shit ton of losing trades. Excuse my language, but essentially what I'm trying to say is you can make a lot of money off of the open and you can lose a lot of money off of the open. And just for my account size right now, I think it's better off that I just avoid playing the open. When I do get a larger account size in the mid 5, 6 figure type, then I will play the open a little bit more aggressively. But just for now, just avoiding the first 5 minutes, just because I don't feel comfortable playing it. But Dylan did net over 100% on this trade, which is just phenomenal. Yeah, so those were the two main setups I wanted to cover. I can go over Netflix too. So Netflix, there was this 537.5 break. However, I did take this and I did lose on this, but I only lost about $100, so I managed risk super well. And one thing I'm starting to notice now, a way I could have avoided this trade is just looking at this first 5 minute candle. We had this huge upper wick, and let me go to some other names. Apple, for instance. Apple had a huge run to the upside. We go over to Amazon. Amazon had a huge bullish 5 minute candle. We go over to Shopify. Shopify had a huge bullish candle. So other names had clear relative strength. Netflix didn't have that strength compared to some of the other equities. So what do you call it? Yeah, so Netflix didn't have that strength compared to some of the other equities. So that's why I guess it wasn't that good of a trade, but I still don't think it was a bad trade. I'll show you my exact entry. I think I entered here. I know we closed below, but we hit this level. We started coming back up. That's where I entered. So this one's a little bit confusing. Obviously, one thing I did learn from Netflix is we didn't have that clear relative strength as opposed to some of the other equities like Shopify and Amazon. So I guess only playing the equities with the most strength, but that's just something I'm gonna have to review with Dylan and a couple of other people. But I think I'm gonna cut the video here. I hope you guys caught either Amazon or Shopify or some other name, and we have 3 days left in the week, so I hope we can capitalize on something else as a community. And I'll be back tomorrow to trade.